Well, I'm getting way ahead. If Europe only has 6 weeks or so of gasoline left, how much do you think Iran has? And they
Yeah.
don't have, they don't have any money left.
Now this brings us to a very interesting point because it goes back to the genius of what's happening with the Strait of Hormuz. And I want to talk about this because I learned this from you. This is something that I had no idea was a thing, especially because when they were talking about revisiting these wells in Venezuela, you kind of laughed at me a little bit, which I deserve to be laughed at a little bit. When I started talking about these wells, you're like, James, I can't let you look ignorant like this. Like I have to educate you.
I did not
And
say
I was
that.
appreciated. I know, but you might as well have. But because I did not realize just how detrimental it is to not pull oil out of an existing well that has been dug. The one thing that you can't do is you cannot stop pulling oil out of a well, because if you do, then some big things happen. So I'm going to leave this up to you to talk about because it's like really important. Let's go back and talk about this for a minute. This is one of the big problems in Venezuela. That's why they're calling upon all these wildcat type people to go back there and start doing some more exploring. But let's go back and talk about Iran. I was told that Iran basically, and I was able to confirm this independently on a few different levels, Iran basically has a week left. 1 week, now that number is 5 days before they have to actually stop pulling oil out of their wells because they're running out of places to store their oil. There's no longer any place to store their oil. Their pipelines are dead. They don't have a place to store the oil, so they're going to have to stop pulling oil out of their wells. Why is that a problem? Can you talk about why that's a problem?
Well, it's the same as in Venezuela. When you take an oil well offline for any amount of time, I mean, let's just say more than 3 months is dangerous, but let's say more than 3 months, and or even a month, really. Several things happen. Number one, the oil itself that you're producing lubricates the casing, the tubing, the sucker rods, the pump, all these things, these metallic objects that help you produce the oil begin to rust and rot. And a lot of people don't know this, James, and you're going to think I'm crazy, but check it out. You can Google it. But down the hole of an oil well, there are these things, we call them bugs. That's what Texas oil men call them out there, and they bugs. And I'm sure it's bacteria, but I'm not sure it's bacteria. Maybe it's bugs.
Yeah.
but they destroy things. They can destroy metal. They can destroy the rubber parts in a pump. And when you stop pumping the well so that there's no fluid is moving down there, it's just stagnant, these bugs multiply like crazy. We even put chemicals down well bores to kill them, but it's not a big problem as long as you're producing. So here's the problem. They probably have already started shutting down the wells in Iran because we've destroyed their tanks, their tank farms. We've destroyed the pipelines. And now we're not allowing the ships to leave. And they're already probably, if they were leaving, James, that means they were full of crude oil already.
Yep.
So they don't have ships they can put the oil on. They're already shutting these wells down. Now, a month from now, those wells will be very difficult to put them back online. Some of them will never be able to because everything will have rotted so much that when they try to pull the wells to fix the pumps, they will drop either the tubing or the sucker rod, certainly, but probably even tubing will break and fall down the hole. And when you fall, who knows how deep? I should have looked it up. I don't know how deep their average wells are, but even if it's just a 6,000-foot well, which is much deeper than that, I'm sure, as that falls and hits the bottom, it just mushrooms and you can't fish it out. So you have to now drill another well. Well, wells like that cost in the multiplied millions to drill. So they're in deep trouble. They're already probably, they're not as bad off as Venezuela yet because Venezuelan wells have been sitting there for over a year probably at this point, many of them. A lot of them were not producing already, even before we went in.